Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's review, I'm going to be taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends Avengers Infinity War Loki and Corvus Glaive 2-pack. As always, we'll take a quick look at the packaging and then we'll take an extremely detailed look at the figures themselves. Taking a quick look at the packaging, as you can see, you've got the Avengers Infinity War logo on the bottom with a window display which would ultimately display the figures. The side of the packaging has some really cool artwork of Corvus Glaive based on his appearance from Infinity War, and the back of the packaging has that same image, however this time it is colorized Corvus Glaive and Loki, and it states that known for his shifting alliances, Loki faces evil head on when he is confronted by the Black Order, a sinister group of Thanos' cohorts that includes the menacing Corvus Glaive. Corvus Glaive was definitely one of the standout characters of the Black Order for me, as I really do love his kind of Grim Reaper-esque design, and I really did wish that we got to see more of him and Proxima Midnight interacting in the movie. The other side of the packaging has some artwork of Loki based on his appearance from the Infinity War movie, and that just about wraps up the packaging. Now, taking a look at Loki, I do believe that this is a figure that we have seen before. I've never collected any of the Marvel Legend Loki figures, so for me this is a first, and I do think that it is a really nice representation of how Loki looked in the Infinity War movie. Unfortunately, I do have a defective cape piece in the fact that this peg here just will not stay tabbed into the pegs underneath the hair, so I do just tend to remove it and have Loki capeless. But disregarding the cape, this is still a really nice figure. Taking a look at the details, this is a great likeness to Tom Hiddleston. Hasbro, using that 3D printing technology, really have aced the likeness. As you can see, the hair has been sculpted and painted exceptionally well, and the definition to the sculpt definitely helps to amplify the realism of the figure. I really do like the outfit that this figure also has. It does look very leathery. Taking a look at the details in the chest, as you can see, it's got some great wrinkled and creased material effect. The design is very reminiscent of what we see in the movie. I do like some of the armor plating on Loki's arms. You can see you've got the green kind of pearlescent plastic there, and obviously this section here is painted. I think his hands have been painted and sculpted impeccably well. As you can see, they seem to be in this kind of grasping pose, which is obviously to probably grasp the Tesseract. Opposite arm is exactly the same as the other side. Turning down to the legs, these two carry that same line design. As you can see, the boots are just done in a standard black plastic. However, I do believe that to be accurate to the movie. In terms of the cape, it has been molded in a solid green plastic with some gold highlights at the top. As you can see here, this does appear to be asymmetrical. This section has an extra piece of armor plating, whereas this one is absent. And it is such a shame that this peg doesn't seem to want to clip in. It does just seem to be too far apart. I do believe that these should definitely be brought in. Perhaps I can improve this by bathing this in some hot water and molding it there. But nonetheless, it is still a nice piece, and I think the details and the wrinkled effect make it look extremely authentic. Turning to accessories, Loki does come with one. Obviously, it is the Tesseract. It has been molded in a translucent clear blue plastic, and it does look very basic. There are no details nor sculpted lines in it. It is literally just a blue cube. However, considering the role that this accessory plays in the movie, I am definitely glad that they have included it in this 2-pack. Turning to the articulation of the figure, the head is on a ball joint, so it can look left and right as well as up and down and side to side. There is also a hinge joint here which allows you to move the head downwards as well as back that far. However, it is extremely stiff on my copy, probably seeing as this is a brand new figure. The arms can rotate 360 degrees as well as ratchet out to the sides. There is a full 360 degree rotation just above the shoulder section. The elbows have got double joints, so they can curl all the way in just like so, and the hands can rotate 360 degrees as well as hinge forwards and backwards. He does have a great ab crunch, allowing him to crunch all the way forwards and all the way backwards. He also has a ratcheted waist swivel joint, which could probably do for the full 360. However, this section does drag on it ever so slightly. The legs can kick forwards that far and back that far. He can also do the split about that far, and there is a rotation joint just at the upper thigh section. There is a double jointed knee which enables you to kick this all the way back. And finally, for the feet, they are able to pivot forwards and backwards as well as rock side to side. So overall, for articulation, it is standard for Marvel Legend figures. However, it is really, really good. Now, the reason behind why most collectors are going to be picking up this 2-pack is, of course, to complete the Black Order and obtain Corvus Glaive. And this figure is absolutely fantastic. It is a great rendition of the character that we see in the Infinity War movie, and I think Hasbro have done a fantastic job in replicating his design in action figure form. Taking a look at his head sculpt, as you can see, it is extremely menacing and really, really sinister, and is a dead ringer for the design that we see in the movie. As you can see, he's this very creepy, almost Grim Reaper-esque type of character. You've got the extremely sharp teeth there, which have been picked out in an awesome white paint, and you've got some fantastic gold detailing on the face. Also, the face has been given this kind of wash over the blue flesh color in order to give a really authentic look to the character's skin. And I really do like the costume. As you can see, he's got really nice gold lines throughout the hood, and the horns have been picked out in a gold paint, and there doesn't appear to be any paint bleed on this section whatsoever. All the paint applications look extremely precise. Turning down to this section, I absolutely love how they've molded this. This looks really, really awesome. Turning it around, you've got all these individual bits which are connected to this one main torso piece, which just sits above the actual torso section itself. They are made of a rubbery plastic so that the articulation is not too compromised, and this too has been weathered with a really nice gold paint application in order to make it look extremely authentic. The torso section also has those gold highlights with some fantastic detailing, really to pick out some of the finer details of the figure's sculpt. And I think the arms look absolutely fantastic as well. They've got all this great armor plating on them, making him look extremely menacing. I'm also a massive fan of how they've actually sculpted the figure's fingers. As you can see, they do look like claws, and I really do think it fits him, as he was definitely a very sinister character in the movie. Moving down to the crotch section, as you can see, this piece here is made of a slightly more rubbery piece. However, no details have been skimped out on whatsoever, and you've got that same gold wash. Turning the figure around now, as you can see, this whole piece here is made of a rubbery piece, and it's able to flex. And this too has been sculpted and detailed impeccably. As you can see, it kind of drapes along the floor, which in some ways can actually hinder articulation, as it does tend to just drape behind him. However, due to how flexible it is, if you do move it out of the way, I can imagine that he can pull off perhaps 99% of the poses that you want to get him in. Lifting this section up, as you can see, they haven't skimped out on the paint detail whatsoever on this back section, and they've even detailed some of the armor plating on the back of the figure that you perhaps wouldn't see with this piece over the top. The thighs have also been detailed impeccably well with the same gold paint. The same goes for the shins. These seem to have been given this kind of silver shimmer wash throughout, which really does help to make the armor look weathered and battered. The gold paint application also continues underneath, which is a really nice attention to detail. And finally, turning to the toes, as you can see, these are two very claw-esque, with the two outer toes picked out in a gold paint, and the two inner toes are just the sculpted darker type of plastic. So overall, for details, this Corvus Glaive figure is absolutely fantastic. Now, turning to accessories, Corvus does come with one accessory, that obviously being his signature spear that we see him use throughout the entirety of the Infinity War movie. This is obviously the weapon that we see him use trying to extract one of the stones from Vision's crest. Obviously, he's unsuccessful, and this is actually the weapon that causes Corvus Glaive's demise, as he does meet his end via his own blade. This too has been detailed impeccably well. As you can see, you've got the gold paint applications on either side of each blade. These two are completely different sculpts from one another. This one is a lot shorter and more rounded, whereas this one is a lot longer and more pointed, and obviously has the various points coming out of the side. He does appear to have two handles on the bottom of it, which the figure can actually wield. However, the main staff section here has picked out in a nice silver paint application, and the base colour seems to be this black, so it does look really awesome. Another really detailed piece to go along with this Corvus Glaive figure. Now, turning to articulation, Hasbro have done a fantastic job in enabling you to get Corvus into some fantastic poses. The head is on a ball joint, so it can look left and right. The hood section is a separate piece from this piece. The head can hinge forwards as well as back about that far. It does get restricted due to this collar section at the back. The arms are able to lift up. This one is slightly restricted by this section. However, this one does have slightly more movement. It can move out to the sides just like so. There is a full 360-degree rotation just below the shoulder. There is also a great double jointed elbow, which allows you to perhaps have him hold the sphere and kind of hold it over his shoulder. The hands are hinged forwards and backwards, as well as having a full 360-degree rotation joint. He does have an ab crunch. It is this piece here. It does allow you to hinge the figure forwards that far and back about that far, as well as rock side to side like so. This does also act as a rotational joint, so you can get him to swivel left and right. There is also a waist articulation joint just below that, which also allows you to rotate the figure all the way around. However, this piece here does not crunch whatsoever. The legs can kick forwards that far and back about that far. However, this piece here will restrict it. The legs can do the splits. There is that rotation just above the thigh with the double jointed knees, which are extremely stiff, but they do go all the way. And finally, the toes are able to pivot forwards and backwards, as well as rotate side to side. So there you have it. That is my review for the brand new Marvel Legends Avengers Infinity War Loki and Corvus Glaive 2-pack. If you're a collector, you have to pick up this set in order to complete the Black Order. It is slightly crafty on Hasbro's part to actually include Corvus in a 2-pack with Loki, which I believe has already been released. It is a shame that the majority of collectors will have to double dip on this mold in order to obtain the Corvus mold. However, you do get a fantastic fantastic figure out of this set, and I definitely highly recommend it. I hope that you enjoyed this review. If you did, please let me know down in the comment section below. And until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.